like AC said, appreciate everybody being here. Got a big challenge ahead of us this week. Florida Atlantic is a really good football team. They lost their first two games against probably, at that time, top 10, top 15 teams in Ohio State and Central Florida. They've gone now they've won their last three games. They're scoring a lot of points. I think they've averaged over 40 points a game the last 3 weeks. Their quarterback is playing at a really, really high level. I believe he's got 12 touchdown passes and 2 interceptions. He's protecting the ball. He's throwing the ball with, great accuracy. And he's protecting the ball as well. So, he's doing a really good job of running their offense. And you look at statistically, their offense is up there in the top of all the Conference USA statistical categories. They're starting to run the ball better, and I think kind of like what I've said, it was tough running the ball against Ohio State. It was tough running the ball against Central Florida. They got a running back, a young kid now, freshman, that they're really high on. Is doing a great job. They're skill guys. They've always got good skill guys. Their receivers are dynamic. But I think their tight ends are as good as any tight ends we'll face, or as good as tight ends as there are in the country. They'll flex them out. They'll be at a wide receiver. They'll be in tight, in closed packages. So they're really, really talented. Coach Kiffin has done a great job there. He's an excellent football coach. He's got a great offensive mind, and I'm sure we'll see some things differently this week that they haven't shown. One, because they've had an open date, and two, he's going to look at what we do good and what we do bad and try to counteract that. So defensively, extremely fast. Their linebackers, their secondary, even their front people can run. This is an extremely fast defense. They're active. They're going to put a lot of pressure on us. They're going to come after you. They're going to play a lot of man coverage. So we've got to be able to hold up there. So, and then they're very sound in the kicking game. They'll always have dangerous, explosive returners, and that's no different than this year. So it's going to be a challenge going on the road, conference game. It's going to be a great challenge for us. But like I always say, we'll be ready to roll when we get there.
Coach, I know you mentioned after the game to us and to several other people how proud you were about the toughness that you guys played with. Can you just kind of reiterate that and how important it'll be to take that toughness on the road this week?
Well, you got to have it every game. And I was just that game Saturday, one, because of the elements. It was really hot. It was a hot day on that turf. Makes it hotter. We were down some people because of injuries, and it was, they had the ball, for a good portion of the time, a lot more than we did, and just the toughness that we played with, especially in the second half, the mental toughness, the physical toughness. We stop them on downs, on interception, on interception. That was those were their 5 possessions of the second half, and you're lining up there 4th and a half a yard, in your own red zone, and you get a stop. It just talks about the toughness of your team, being able to convert things that we did offensively in the second half. And as good as we were, we didn't kick the ball great, but I thought we covered extremely well on punt and kickoff coverage. We didn't, we just played so hard. It was good to see, and not that we haven't played that hard, because we have. And but when especially you get into conference play, toughness, discipline. We had 1 penalty. We didn't have any turnovers. We created 4 turnovers. So all those things add up. It goes into the mental discipline, the mental toughness, and the physical toughness to, create turnovers, to be disciplined, from a penalty standpoint. All that goes together.
Now, you mentioned how well your defense played in the second half, but what are some areas of improvement that you need to see this week head into a really good offense like you mentioned?
Well, we're going to get challenged on the outside. They're going to challenge our corners, and we gave up. I think we had 14 explosive plays that we gave up. That's too many, and that's a run of more than 12 or a pass of more than 16 is what we define an explosive play. So we're going to get challenged on the outside. We've got to play better at the corner position than we've played, and we're getting a little bit better, but still they're going to challenge us. So I think that's an area. We got some pressure on the quarterback Saturday with Marshall. We've got to continue to do that, and we've got to get more pressure. We've got to make Chris, Robinson. We've got to try to make him, throw under duress. And if their receivers are too talented for us to just sit back, let him sit back there with a lot of time, because he'll pick us apart, because I think he's completing over 70% of his passes, closer maybe to 75. 12 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. So we've got to get after the quarterback.
You had a defense that had a half like that one did the other day. It's not necessarily as far as yards, but the way that they ended opponents' drives time after time like that.
Chip, I don't know. I didn't look back. I haven't really reflected back on previous teams' defenses. I'm sure somewhere along the line, we've had a defense that, shut somebody down completely the second half. But, you give up 0 points, and we did a good job. Javante makes a great tackle on 4th down on their fake field goal. And like I said, those weren't 4th and 6 or 7 yard deals. The fake field goal was, but 4th and a half a yard, 4th and a yard, and you get stops. And it goes back to, we had a goal line stand at Michigan. We had could have almost had a goal line stand, there at Iowa. They gave it to them. So, our defense has played really tough and physical in critical situations there. And, but I was really proud of our defense. They competed their tails off.
I think FAU's forced 10 turnovers this year, something like that. How do you guys keep your no turnovers going at another game?
They've done a good job. I think they're number 1 in the conference. At +5. I think they're at +5, and we're at +4. So again, it just goes back to playing disciplined football, that you protect the ball. If you touch the ball, if you're a runner, if you're a receiver, if you're a quarterback, you protect the ball. And and it's not just those guys. It's chasing plays. It's chasing the ball, that you're not just standing around and watching. Just like I guess it was the third quarter, they knocked the ball out of Asher, out of his hand, and instead of just not finishing the play, Will Gilchrist is hustling, he's working, and he ends up diving on the loose ball. And, that's a way to prevent turnovers, just by effort plays and hustling. So we've all got to continue to do that. We got to continue to play the game hard.
Your phone calls with Brent a little different this week?
No, they won't be. And this is obvious. This is the first time, for me and him. I've rooted for him, all my life, and now this will be the first time that I'll root against him. But no, I'm so looking forward to seeing him and hugging his neck. Hadn't seen him in, a couple months, so I'm just looking forward to that. And he's a professional, and we talk last week that, he doesn't have to worry about me asking him anything or, me trying to pry information from him. I'm not going to do that, and I wouldn't expect him, and he won't tell me anything. He's getting started in this profession, and he understands, the integrity and the professionalism you have to show to stay in this profession for a long time. So I'm just looking forward to hugging him and seeing him.
You mentioned that
I can hear you.
you mentioned that they're running this new freshman running back out, and they had Devin Singletary for years. Just how different of a back is he, and what does he do well?
He's got good speed. He runs behind his pads. He's a straight ahead runner. Devin, and the other one, White, he was just as, he was their speed back, and Devin was their, kind of jitterbug shake and bake guy. Those were two really good backs they had last year, and this guy is, they use him in the passing game. He's active in the passing game. He's a good runner. He runs hard. He runs physical. Looks like, obviously, he's a really good player.